Hi, I'm Sue Ann,
And I'm Amber.
and we are Soul Lightwork. Amber had a great subject to start off with regarding boundaries. Super important for all of us, something that is a work in progress for me, perhaps for many of you also. Go ahead and start, Amber.
Okay. Yes, boundaries are something that is still a work in progress for me. I'm more mindful and aware of what boundaries mean to me. Not only are there physical barriers and boundaries between you and others, but I've realized it's an emotional and mental thing too. And really, I feel the importance of boundaries on an energetic level, mainly because I'm a really sensitive and emotional person. And I would say in my 20s, I almost put that to the side. I almost kind of put my intuition, my sensitivity, and emotions to the side in order, once again, to fit into society, to fit into work environments, events, functions, relationships. That's a big one. But through all those life experiences, I learned that my energy and my boundaries are extremely valid and extremely important. And now I almost honor my sensitivity level. And ultimately, I realized if I'm not feeling comfortable, it's okay. It's for a reason. And I no longer really allow myself to stay in situations, environments, relationships where I don't feel comfortable energetically. That was like my profound realization. Because it's up to you to guard your energy. It's your right to guard your energy and your well-being. And also, like, since I'm highly introverted as well, it might rub some people the wrong way, or they're not even thinking about me, but it might look like, wow, I don't connect with a lot of people. But no, I'm just very particular in who I'm having an exchange with, because I want to feel like I'm on a good vibrational plane, or there's like a healthy rapport, and I want the other person to feel that way too. So that's what boundaries mean to me.
Well said. Well, we have new school, old school. So coming from a background of three brothers and an era that the family dynamics and culturally, some of the boundaries that I found in particular for my individual gender was not encouraged. There was some unawareness of what was appropriate and not appropriate. Perhaps I didn't feel encouraged in stating my opinion and standing on that opinion and staying by that opinion that I would give in.
Is this in like work experience? Or
This concerns, yes, work and relationships and friendships and business dealings. But I've come a long way, and I am grateful for this because it is a process. It doesn't often happen overnight for most people, I would think. But the encouragement that when she mentioned the exchange of energy in particular had me think of, y'all know them. Sometimes I jokingly but seriously refer to them as Eeyores. Other people I've heard call people vampires, energy vampires. And it's very difficult to maintain an energy level that's higher when someone's around you at a much lower, maybe they've had a bad day, bad life, bad attitude, whatever the situation is with that person. It's nice to want to assist if that's in your general makeup. However, ultimately, it's my own responsibility to say, okay, how much of this can I tolerate without me being affected too much? I am not here to directly to change anyone in particular. It's up to that individual to do whatever they want to do that's going to work best for them. And that's all that I can be responsible for is myself.
But that's like an individual boundary thing, because
it is.
Different things work better depending on the person.
Yes, and I believe by taking responsibility, nobody has done anything to me that I did not allow in some way, shape, or form, in my opinion.
And that's been clicking for me, because you've like reiterated that to me, that it's a combination of your interaction or your experience, but it's also how much do you allow.
Yes, and there's been a lot of interesting dynamics over the last couple of years that brought to light a lot of situations that people almost came across in the victimhood. And I'm not here to debate this per se, other than my observation is my mama taught me that I was not to be anywhere at 3 a.m. in the morning thinking that nothing was going to happen to me. Just saying, that's how I was raised. Some people perhaps didn't have that information given to them, or didn't stand by their intuition, their gut feeling. Hey, I shouldn't be here at this time.
Right. Like,
this is not
listen
good.
to it.
Listen to it. This is what we're here to do, is to encourage the authenticity, the authority, the
you're in charge of you.
You're in charge of you.
I love that I've discovered that, because I think life gives you lessons, good and bad, or challenging, or anyway, you can ebb and flow out of these different roles, feeling like a victim, feeling like you're in charge, but ultimately you get to choose.
Mm-hmm. And you hear a lot of really sad stories, and I'm not saying
that's true.
I mean, I had kidney failure that was unexpected. Did I seek it out? Well, not directly, but I had some boundary issues, and in my opinion, yes, I was instrumental in my health detriment ultimately. However, the outcome was so positive, even though it was a difficult lesson. My gosh, I've been given a new life. Mm-hmm. And I think with me learning more boundaries all through my life, it's just gotten better and better and better. And again, is the glass half full, half empty? We've used that term in a prior session. It's very individualistic.
I agree.
Anything else?
I guess to dive in a little bit more to what you said about is everything that happens to us kind of like in our control or not, because there's so many different circumstances and things that I would never want to go through that other people have gone through, or things that I just have never experienced yet. So I don't have the answers for everyone's life,
no.
And everyone's own reality. But from my personal experience, even it's more been like relationally for me, I have felt a little bit victimized or used, but once again, I kind of allowed it or entertained it too long. So once again, that gave me the power to own my authority again and be in the driver's seat.
That's a great point. In fact, knowing when enough is enough, that also can represent your boundary. And like she said, taking something on too long, letting that. I had a great experience many years ago with a counselor when I went through my first divorce. She did an exercise where she started poking on my chest. And she didn't get me clear to the door, but she kept poking, and I backed up a little bit. And finally I said, "Why are you doing this?" She goes, "I don't know. Why do you think I'm doing it?" And I said, "Because you want to see how much of this I'm going to take." She goes, "Bingo." And she stopped poking me. Interesting.
Very,
very interesting. And evidently was what I needed at the time.
Right.
To see that I had not set appropriate boundaries, because as soon as she started putting her finger at me, I should have touched her gently and said, "Excuse me." But again, it was great. It was a great learning situation. The other thing that I read recently was it's a wonderful life coach. Her name is Paula Smith out of Alberta, Canada. Go Canucks. I have very great friends in Canada. I'm going to paraphrase what she has in her intro in what she's all about as a life coach, but life coach, thank you. But what it was about was that change sometimes, is it more painful to stay in your situation, or is the change more painful? And for me, many times the situation is more painful than the ultimate change that I had to make. And I think it was very profound. Kudos to her for having that as part of her introduction into what she offers.
That was very profound when you told me that earlier too, because I fully agree that you sometimes sit with that question, weighing the options. Is the pain I'm in, does it trump the pain of change? And individually, I thought that this would be the scarier option, personally making all these changes. Like, that's so terrifying. It requires so much effort in all the ways, but it was the best decision for me.
Absolutely.
It weighed out staying put. Oh.
Absolutely. and that's been my motivation. Pain can be a motivator, and there is a difference between suffering and pain. Pain to me being much greater than suffering, and less tolerable than suffering. That's just my opinion on that one. This is a bit of a dovetail. Are we ready to dovetail this into?
Let's
We're
dovetailing. Is
dovetailing.
that light Mary?
No, it's like taking something and going into something else.
That works too.
All right.
Let's do it.
The dovetail that I'm alluding to was that I had mentioned the possibility of Pluto's return.
Oh yeah.
This is huge. And there's a lot of information, again, from people that know a lot more than
Actually,
I do.
just FYI, this is less light and airy. This is more in depth.
This is more in depth, but there's a light here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the reality is, for the planet Pluto, if any of you have heard this.
Is it a transformative planet?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll start with that. Pluto changes darkness into light. May take a while. But ultimately, that's the goal. If a person, I'll use an analogy. If a person realizes in nature, when a tree falls to earth and is dead, that it actually has to completely decay and then produces amazing regrowth of something new. It takes its place. So what that means in this conversation is that Pluto is about to return to its natal position for the United States. And it's going to come directly hitting the natal Pluto with this transiting Pluto energy, and there's other planets involved too.
How long does that take?
Oh, we're talking about, it's going to be here a long time. But the initial
how long does it
change.
take to get here?
200 and some years. I'd have to look it up, Amber.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious.
It takes a while.
A couple hundred years.
Yes, because the Constitution. There you go. Thank you for bringing me back. The Constitution, 1776. So it's taken 246 years, 200 and some years to return. So yes, it's to its exact location. What does this mean? It's returning in the sign of Capricorn, which is Earth, has to do with government, Constitution,
Rounded energy,
money. And where is it located in our natal chart of the United States? Founding Fathers is in the second house, which is the house of resources and values. So this is just the beginning. This is not a fearmonger
topic.
No, not in my book. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not.
Because Capricorns, they get through the thick of it. They just keep persevering.
The Capricorn
That energy
continues until they're at the top of the mountain. Does it take them a while to get to the top of the mountain? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But does it persist and pursue? Yes. So again, the United States is undergoing, and you already know this ever since COVID. COVID's going to have a definite impact on taxes and our financial situation, with the joint taxes that have not come in due to the lack of employment and concerns and cost of everything that's transpired. A lot of people feel very concerned about the restrictions that have been imposed, that they feel against their wills, although it's saved quite a few lives for those that drank the Kool-Aid and liked it. I've had 3 shots. I say that tongue-in-cheek, but seriously, I have many healthcare workers that have really, really put themselves on the line to help all of us in this challenging times. So as I discuss this, there's going to be some major dates throughout the year that things are going to align up, that again, we're breaking down the old to establish something new
To build
and better. That's the key word for me, and better.
Yeah.
And why I say that with confidence, like knowing something that you may not know, and but it's again that intuitive, that gutness, and it's experience. So when I became cognitive of Pluto and what it means in my life, is that there's a transit of Pluto, though, even though it takes years and years and years to come back to its beginning source, it continues to transit. And in a chart, there's houses, and each house represents a different scenario. And for example, the second house of the United States is of values and your belongings and your money.
And you're doing a snapshot of like the astrological chart.
I am.
Yeah.
It's like a clock, 1 through 12.
Circle, yeah.
So I have been cognitive of Pluto going through at least 4 of my houses in my 65 years of life. And once I became cognitive of where I started and where I am now and how it affected me in these different time elements of my life, oh my gosh. I mean, it started in the house of my family, it moved through the house of fun, through the house of work and health, through marriage and relationship, and through joint assets, death, dying, taxes. Father died in that one, and
It's kind of it's a heavy
it's a heavy
astrological
planet. Even though some people don't call it a planet anymore, but to me it will always be Pluto.
Yeah.
Give it the respect it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's moving to the top of my chart, which is me in the world. And again, I'm here to say it's a choice. Go down the fear hole. Does it mean it's going to be easy? No. But again, in the end, if we collectively are going for the higher realm of cooperation, and what affects us locally, what we do locally affects globally. And trust me, financially, this already has affected the world through COVID. So if we have a major disruption in our country, even though the outcome will be good, and it can be good, there's going to be a lot of fear and uncertainty and concerns and a lot of, again, misinformation. This is a little segue, but yet it's not. In the early 80s, I was in the medical field and did the first complete full-blown AIDS patient that our hospital received. And he died shortly after I was involved in his care. And the misinformation that we had at that time, we didn't know. So, I mean, we were glove, gown, masked. My patient was glove, gown, masked. And I helped the individual off the table, and he started to cry. And I said, "I'm sorry, have I hurt you?" And he said, "No." He says, "You're the first person who's touched me physically in over a week." And I gave him a big hug, and he cried some more, and I got teary. I'm teary now. So the echoes, it's like an echo of my past. So when COVID started, it was an echo of the day of AIDS, where we didn't know. And look at the medicines that have come forward to help individuals that are now living a complete, full life. As a kidney receiver, oh my God, I know what it feels like to receive the gift of life, or at least the hope of having a quality life. It's a choice. So that's the segue about something that seems so bad can ultimately turn out okay in the end.
Yes.
What would you like to say?
I'm segueing and kind of tying back into Pluto.
Okay.
I'm also, since I'm 31, I have some of my friends listening to that were born in like the 1990s, because Pluto in your chart,
Yes.
when you're born, it's for a couple decades. It stays in each sign, right?
Mhm.
So my generation and like 90s babies, the millennials, we have Pluto in Scorpio, which is like the most intense sign for Pluto, and it is probably one of the most transformative, besides Capricorn. With millennials out there, we all have Pluto in Scorpio, and it's so intense and so transformative. And just a quick tidbit on that is just move past fear is just my advice, because I think fear is the only thing stopping you in whatever area that you might want to change in your life. You have the power to do it. You just have to get over the fear factor,
Exactly.
because it's such a transformative energy, Pluto and Scorpio.
And I would have to echo that in that my Scorpio is in Saturn at birth. So again, transformative. And Saturn in Scorpio is in my house of work and health. So what a transformation. You know, I mean, I didn't maintain structure. It's the health aspect of my life, but Pluto and Scorpio, yes. So the return of Pluto, as I mentioned earlier, is in Capricorn.
For like the whole, for
2024 in particular is where it's going to be hitting from now until 2024, right on certain crucial things statewide and actually globally. It actually hits the axis of the globe at one point too, coming up. Again, I invite you to listen to Pam Gregory, who's actually from England. She has a YouTube channel and is extremely gifted and has a profound knowledge of astrology. And she has a great video out on U.S. Pluto return is what the title of that YouTube is. So again, it's pretty astounding, and we're here to say, what can we say? We can do it!
we can do it. Keep the faith.
Absolutely. Are we
Yes.
ready?
Ready to sign off?
Yes.
Until next time.
Have a great day
Yes.
and keep the faith.